The digital flicker fades as the heavy bronze of mediolanum swings upon the hinges of the soul, and the static of the modern street is drowned by the rhythmic pulse of a heart tuned to the ancient meters of the morning. Here in the brief space between the scrolling thumb and the eternal eye, we encounter the governor who became the shepherd, not by the will of the flesh, but by the sudden cry of a child echoing through the basilica, like a divine decree. You seek power in the thunder of the forum, but find it instead in the stillness of a man who stood before the purple of the empire and forbade the threshold to a bloodied Caesar until the crown bowed lower than the cross. This is the wisdom that does not trickle from the parched lips of the sophist, but flows like the golden abundance of a celestial hive, where the bees of the spirit deposited their nectar upon the infant mouth of a sleeping saint. We walk through the architecture of his sentences, where every stone is a syllogism, and every window is a hymn designed to catch the first light of the eternal. Rerum Conditor, before the world wakes to its toil. There is a way to this tribute that defies the lightness of the screen as we navigate the corridors of his rhetoric, where the law of the land was transmuted into the liturgy of the land. He did not merely speak of the light, he fashioned the very lamps that hold it through the antiphonal chanting of 1,000 voices rising in a single tide, to wash away the dry dust of varying shadows. Witness the power that commanded the earth to yield the hidden bones of martyrs, so that the foundations of our faith might be bolstered by the crimson testimony of the soil itself. His wisdom was a sharp blade wrapped in silk, a gentle hand that guided the restless mind of the African rhetorician, from the labyrinth of the Manichees to the clarity of the Milanese font, where the waters of rebirth still the storms of a wandering heart. We are the heirs to that quiet intensity, the beneficiaries of a man who understood that the true defense of the city lies not in its walls, but in the sanctity of its hymns and the unyielding posture of its bishop. In this fleeting moment of devotion, the YouTube horizon collapses, and the hashtags of the world are silenced by the gravity of the mitre and the staff. We explore not a map of dead geography, but a topography of the inner life, where the honeycomb of the word is tasted in the silence of the cell. Ambrose speaks across the chasm of the centuries, telling us that the emperor is within the church, not above it, and that the power of the believer is found in the bended knee rather than the clenched fist. His legacy is the fragrance of the sanctuary and the structure of the prayer that holds the dawn in its hands, preventing the darkness from reclaiming the world. We pause in this digital atrium to feel the vibration of the Ambrosian chant moving through the marrow of our bones, a brief but monumental encounter with the architect of the Western spirit, who knew that to lead men, one must first be led by the word. The tribute is short, but the resonance is infinite, as we breathe in the incense of his courage and the honey of his grace. It is a call to the deep, to the hidden places, where the wisdom of the ages waits to be rediscovered. by those who tire of the shallow currents of the day. As the video concludes and the pixels rearrange themselves into the next distraction, the image of the bishop remains etched upon the retina of the spirit, a sentinel of the secret, a master of the melody, and a father to all who seek the power that is perfected in humility. May the nectar of his eloquence soften the hardness of our speech, and may the iron of his resolve fortify the weakness of our will as we step back into the world, carrying the quiet fire of Milan within the sanctuary of our own private silence. The first vibration strikes the narthex wall, where the gray dust of exhaustion has settled over the years, and the initial melody is a draft of cool air through a heavy bronze door. It begins not with a shout, but with the click of a rosary against a wooden pew, and the slow, deliberate ignition of a beeswax taper. This is the first song of the 8, a respiration for the breathless, where the lungs of the soul are invited to expand against the corset of old sorrows. We speak here of the morning of the optic nerve, when the stained glass finally catches a fractured sunbeam and turns a monochromatic grief into a kaleidoscope of ruby and sapphire. The healing starts in the retinas as they learn to see the architecture of a sanctuary that was built to outlast the tremor of our hands. Underneath the vaulted arches, the second movement rises as an unction of scented chrism and crushed hyssop. It is the hymn of the tactile oil sliding over the forehead to seal the cracks in the intellect where doubt has leaked in like winter rain. Here the choir hums a low sustained drone that mimics the steady pulse of a sleeping heart, finally at peace. There is no jagged rhythm here, only the smooth surface of a silver paten reflecting a face that has forgotten how to smile. The music pulls the shrapnel of regret from the muscle tissue of the spirit and replaces the iron with the softness of white linen, washed in the waters of a distant Jordan. It is the melody of the mendicant who finds a feast in a single crumb of hope. The third invocation is a polyphony of the ancestors, where the voices of the choir become a ladder of interlocking intervals. Each note is a stone in a cathedral wall, supporting the weight of the note above it. This is the song of collective endurance, where the individual ego is submerged into the resonant body of the church. We sing of the communion of the broken, where every fracture in one soul is reinforced by the wholeness of another. The harmony is complex and dense, like the interlacing branches of a cedar of Lebanon, providing shade for the weary traveler who has walked too long under the scorching sun of secular demands. The healing here is found in the disappearance of the lonely self into the majestic us. As the fourth song unfolds, it takes the shape of a deep subterranean water flowing beneath the crypts where the martyrs rest in silent vigil. This is the hymn of the baptism of rebirth, where the grime of the world is sloughed off like a dead skin. The rhythm is syncopated and fluid, mimicking the ebb and flow of a tide that obeys a lunar grace we cannot see, but can only feel in the rising of our blood. It is a song for the thirsty, whose throats have been parched by the salt of their own tears. And it offers a vintage that does not intoxicate, but clarifies the mind until the path ahead is visible through the mist of the valley. The fifth movement is the golden song of the monstrance, a radiance that vibrates at a frequency higher than the human ear can register, but which the marrow of the bone understands perfectly. It is the music of the center of the universe, pulling every stray thought back to its origin. The choir whispers the syllables of ancient Latin, not as dead words, but as living seeds planted in the fallow ground of the heart. This is the medicine of presence, where the healing occurs simply by standing still in the light of the invisible King. There is a weightiness to this hope, a gravity that anchors the drifting spirit to the bedrock of a promise made before the foundations of the stars were laid. In the sixth canticle, we hear the sound of the thurible swinging on its silver chains, a rhythmic clinking that accompanies the rising smoke of the frankincense. The music becomes atmospheric and ethereal, as if the prayers are being carried upward on the backs of angels. This is the hymn of the ascent, the healing of the vertical relationship, where the bent back of the sinner begins to straighten. We are no longer looking at the dust of our origin, but at the constellations of our destination. The lyrics are a tapestry of psalms woven into a modern urgency, asking for the strength to climb the mountain of the Lord with clean hands and a heart that has been scrubbed by the rough wool of penance. The seventh song is the most difficult, for it is the song of the great silence after the final chord has diminished into the rafters. It is the healing of the ear that has been deafened by the cacophony of the world's demands. In this hollowed out space, the hope is a quiet ember glowing in the dark of a Saturday vigil. It is the patient waiting for the stone to roll away, the confidence that the silence of God is not an absence, but a profound preparation. The choir breathes in unison, a rhythmic sigh that signals the end of the struggle and the beginning of the rest. In the hallowed quiet of the domestic cathedral, where the scent of beeswax mingles with the steam of the evening meal, we invoke the daughter of the Father to stand guard at the threshold of our shared lives. O Mary, whose womb was the first tabernacle, and whose arms were the first throne for the King of Peace, cast the translucent veil of your protection over the lintel of this house. For here the mundane becomes the mystical, and the daily bread is broken in the shadow of the cross. You who knew the rhythm of the loom and the weight of the water jar, in the dusty heat of Nazareth, look upon the intricate weave weave of our relationships, where the threads of individual wills often fray against the friction of proximity. We bring to you the covenant of the marriage bed and the sanctity of the kitchen table, asking that the wine of our affection, which so often runs thin in the drought of routine, might be replenished by the miraculous overflow of your Son's inexhaustible grace. Turn your gaze toward the union of husband and wife, those two disparate souls bound by a vow that echoes the fiat of your own yielding heart. When the silence between them grows heavy with unspoken grievances, or when the clamor of the world threatens to drown the whisper of their initial love, be that spans the abyss of misunderstanding, grant them the fortitude of Joseph and the tenderness of your own embrace, so that their partnership may not be a struggle for dominance, but a mutual pilgrimage toward the eternal May. Their patience be like the cedar of Lebanon, deep-rooted and resilient, and may their forgiveness be as frequent as the rising of the morning star, washing away the residues of anger before the sun sets upon their hearth. We entrust to your eternal vigilance the blossoms of our heritage, the children who carry the torch of our names into a future we shall not see. You who watch the Christ child grow in wisdom and stature, protect the innocence of these small ones from the biting frosts of a cynical age. May their laughter be the music of our halls, and their growth be directed by the light of the gospel as ivy climbs toward the sun. When they stumble on the jagged stones of adolescence or wander into the thickets of doubt, be the North Star that guides them back to the safety of the fold. Let them find in their parents a reflection of the divine fatherhood and your own nurturing mercy, so that the faith they inherit may be a living fire rather than a cold ember of tradition. Intercede, O Mother of Unity, for the fractures that divide our kin, for the ancient grudges that sit like uninvited guests at our feasts, and for the coldness that creeps into the chambers of the heart. We ask for the healing of the family tree, from the gnarled roots of the ancestors to the newest buds of the infants. Let the rosary be the chain that binds us, not in servitude, but in the freedom of a common hope, each bead a footstep on the path toward the great reconciliation. In the hours of sickness, be the cooling hand upon the brow. In the hours of grief, be the steady shoulder upon which we weep. And in the hours of joy, be the Magnificat that rises from our lips in day of gratitude. May this house be a vessel of hospitality, where the stranger is welcomed as the hidden Christ, and where the elderly are honored as the keepers of our sacred memory. Teach us that unity is not the absence of struggle, but the presence of charity, a seamless garment woven from the countless small acts of sacrifice that no one sees, but the angels as the evening shadows lengthen, and we gather more to commend our spirits to the night. Let our last thought be a prayer for the world's families, that every home may become a sanctuary of light in the gathering darkness. Under your mantle, O Queen of the home, we find our rest, knowing that no prayer whispered in the name of love is ever lost in the vastness of the heavens. Amen. Through the arched silence of the basalt years and the long thrumming vigil of the unlit wick, we have carved your name into the very lintels of our exhaustion. There is a weight in the Advent air, a suspension of breath, the taste of cold iron and coming cedar, where the ancient dust of the prophets mingles with the fresh frost of a Judean midnight. We are the inheritors of a sigh that began when the first gates were barred, a lineage of the tethered who have learned to read the braille of the stars while waiting for a hand to touch the horizon. We stand in the nave of history, where the echo of the Stuttgart cadence grounds our feet upon the shivering storm. And we summon the king who arrives not with the roar of a predator, but with the terrible fragility of a heartbeat. Come, O long expected, who was whispered in the tents of nomads and calculated in the geometries of the Magi. For our knees are calloused from the stone, and our spirits are thin as beaten gold. You are the release of the captive, not merely from the iron shackle, but from the internal cage of the self, where the shadows of our own making have long outgrown our stature. From the stump of Jesse, where the sap seemed dry, to a memory of greenness emerge. Now, as the sovereign branch that defies the winter of our discontent, we do not ask for a conqueror who tramples the vintage of wrath, but for the deliverer who gathers the scattered fragments of our dignity and knits them into a royal garment. The choir breathes as one, a single lung of prayer, vibrating against the stained glass, where the story of the light is told in shards of sapphire and crimson. They sing of the consolation of Israel, a phrase that carries the salt of 1,000 years of tears, and the honey of a promise kept against the odds of entropy. It is the music of the great homecoming, where the prodigal species recognizes the gate of its creator, walking through the tall grass of the world's evening. Every voice is a thread of silver, pulled through the dark fabric of the present, a sonic spanning the abyss between the not yet and the at hand, until the air itself feels heavy with the gravity of your approach. Born to set thy people free is the mantra of the revolutionary, and the lullaby of the weary, for there is no freedom the architecture of our bones. Break the heart of the oppressor by the gentleness of your entry, and break the pride of the righteous by the poverty of your cradle. We have built cathedrals of pride and dungeons of despair, but you seek only the manger throne of a willing spirit, where the cattle of our instincts low in the presence of the infinite. Let the Stuttgart melody rise like a pillar of smoke in the wilderness, a steady and rhythmic pulse that mimics the walking pace of those who journey toward the light. You are the desire of every nation, even those who have forgotten how to name their hunger, or have tried to sate it with the husks of fleeting empires. There is a cosmic ache that only the incarnation can soothe the tectonic shift in the soul, when the creator becomes the creature and hallows the very dust we tread. In the harmony of the voices, we hear the reconciliation of all things, the high soprano of hope dancing above the deep bass of our mortality, creating a resonance that shakes the foundations of the tomb before it is even occupied. This is the advent of the eternal kingdom, where the scepter is held by a hand that will one day bear the scar of our salvation. By thine own eternal spirit rule in all our hearts alone. For we have tried the governance of kings and the whims of the mob, and found them wanting of the mercy that only a shepherd king can provide. Bring us out of the twilight of our expectations into the noon of your presence, where the long expected becomes the forever possessed. We are no longer orphans of the void, but children of the promise, standing on the threshold of a new creation, where the first light of the morning star is already catching on the edges of our songs. The hymn ends, but the vibration remains us of our songs. The hymn ends, but the vibration remains us of our songs. The hymn ends, but the vibration of our songs. The hymn ends of our songs. Through the arch silence of the basalt hears.
The ember wick of the Sabbath day flickers low against the salt-crusted window pane, where the dust of a week's labor settles in the silence of the nave. It is 7 in the evening, and the shadows are long and lean, like the masts of ghost ships docked in the harbor of our weariness. We stand in the half-light, 4 voices woven into a single rope of sound, waiting for the vibration that begins not in the throat, but in the ancient rhythmic pull of the moon upon the marrow. There is a rustle of sheet music